welcome everyone. Thank you for coming. Today we are going to just have a discussion about some of the things which perhaps I've realized or I've seen or I've experienced about what is going on between ourselves and our minds, and how can we kind of understand the movement of mind versus the reality of our existence, which is not moving with the mind. So I'll touch upon some of the concepts. I'll discuss what happened to me. A lot of you actually don't know me, my background, so I'll give you a little bit of background, what I was doing in London before I went away for a week and something happened. And then we, open for question and answers, and I think that's where, a lot of discussions will happen and a lot of information will come through. So, why are we here today? I am a Londoner. I've been here for the last 20 odd years. I was a hospitality entrepreneur and technology marketing for the last, I'd say, 15 years. And before that, I was a financial trader in hedge funds and banks. And before that, I was a journalist at the Wall Street Journal. So that was that's my entrepreneurial journey. And in 2018, I had a very bad surgery, a botched surgery, which led to extreme depression, 3 other surgeries, 2 suicide attempts, lots of health problems until 2023. And I was living in a state of continuous agony while still performing life's duties and working and making new restaurants and bars all over London. And then in January 2023, I went away because I had to go away for a holiday to Thailand. And I had not planned to go to Thailand. I was just invited by a friend to come to the Thailand, which is very, very cool. So I went there. And life changed a little bit because it's 7 hours difference, and I got a little bit of pause. I started, never did meditation or yoga before ever in my life, but I never did it at that time either. And I was morbid. I was very, I tried to kill myself twice in the last year. So I was in a state of where life didn't make sense. There was no question as to why is there pain. There was just pain. I think most of us don't question that. Why is there pain? Is it right for a conscious being, for example, the creator of life, to be in continuous pain? Or is it something else going on in the mind which attaches to the pain and never lets it pass? So when you are in the body and mind completely, you just want the pain to end. You do everything, you take medicines, you drink alcohol, you take drugs, whatever comes your way, you do that for the pain to end. And that's kind of what happened on 5th of March last year. I was on a beach, chilling, doing nothing. And I started exercising a little bit. I started, breathing a little bit, exercising a little bit because someone else was doing yoga. So I thought, I'll do some. And then I went into a child's pose. And as soon as I went into a child's pose, I was out for 3 hours. When I say I was out, there was no sensation of body and mind. So basically the human experience was not there, but I was alive, or sense of awareness was there, but it was total blank. It was extremely blissful. It was extremely peaceful. It was a state of just being without any pain, without any thought, without any emotion, without any sensation, without any movement. It was a pure sense of stillness. And a few hours later, a ball landed next to me and these guys were playing beach tennis. And at that moment, 2 things happened. First of all, it felt like something came back online. And when that thing came back online, there was an instant recognition that me what I call I am, the experiencer of life, is not the movement of mind and Sebastian. So it was as if Sebastian recognized that there is something which is bigger than Sebastian itself inside experiencing life. And how did that happen? The mind saw, and this was quite a scary thing at that time, all experience is possible. The stars, the moons, the childbirth, the waterfalls, whatever you can imagine humanly possible, kind of converge into me. So there was this instant recognition that the experiencer of life, which we all are here, I am, is not in the mind. It's not this personality which we have associated ourselves with. It is something else. We'll go into detail what is it and how we can perhaps touch it and achieve that sense of stillness and being. So that was the first big realization, that all life experiences end up with a being which is not really here. It's not in the movement of thought, it's somewhere else. And then when my eyes opened, that thing, wherever it was, became what I saw. So the second big realization for me was that all experiences also originate from me. And at that time, I didn't understand what had happened. I thought it was cool, like a cool experience, or whatever. Like I was very chilled. It felt like I got rest for a million years, and I was like very happy. Everything just looked okay. I was taking 7 pills, including morphine, gabapentin, amitriptyline, Ritalin, and a few others. And slowly, everything just started becoming normalized and harmonized. And the medicine went away. I started exercising. I started not meditating still, but I became happy. And I was like, life is good. Life is okay. It was as if I was distancing from a lot of movement which was going on in my mind and body. And then slowly I started meeting these people who made me realize that there is another side of reality which has been talked about in many cultures and many philosophies for years and years and thousands of years. But the way we are programmed now is we're not thinking about it, or we're not seeking it, or we don't even have an idea what we're talking about. We have just become an individual body and mind, and we've been programmed to just chase experiences and do this and do that and go somewhere and become someone, and we're just lost in that. And when things are okay, when things are good, we are very happy. It's a state of euphoria, pleasure. But things don't always remain like that, because that's not the nature of perceptive reality. Things change. So as soon as things change against what we have been programmed to desire, we become sad and we become unhappy, and then we think it's happening to us, and then the mind holds on to it. So I then came back to London, and there was this sense of that this life needs to finish. It was not my life. It was a life of an assumed thinker in the mind, a personality which somehow had stolen my mind and my body and was always thinking about the past and the future, but never here where I exist, where all my life experience happens, in the now, here. Nope, the mind was somewhere else. So I naturally just closed down all my restaurants and bars. In London, I had like 5, 6 of them. Just literally got rid of all the stuff I had, because I'd realized I don't need anything really to live life, to experience life, to be engaged in those 5 senses continuously. And I went back to the island. I went to Greece first and then went back to the island, and naturally started meditating, naturally started doing a specific breathing movement, a specific stretch, a specific meditation style, and it was just for myself to cultivate that sense of stillness. And then in that journey I met hundreds and hundreds of people who were seeking this, and I had no idea that this side of life existed. And they realized that there was something going on with me where I saw something which was very monumental. And today we are going to talk about that experience and how that experience has perhaps changed my life and perhaps can change a lot of other lives if you're at a state where you're looking for that change. So yeah, so it became into a whole philosophy. In the last 10 months I've written 4 books, one of them is there. And the understanding of reality became into a philosophy which I call logical humanism. And it is based on a concept, an age-old concept of non-duality, which again we will talk about in a bit, but with an evolutionary aspect. And evolution, when I say evolution, evolution of thought, evolution of human experience, evolution of what you see out there, not your evolution, not the experiencer, because that is constant, and it's been there since you were born, for example. The thought, the body, the perception is changing, the experience is changing, not the experiencer. So more and more, as we see it out there, people are coming to this realization that the only thought which matters to you is the thought of now, and how can we cultivate that thought of now to experience life in its totality, where actually life happens, which is now. It never happens in the past, and it never happens in the future. That is just memory, and memory is just neural pathways, just blood flow in your brain. It's needed, it's important, and we'll talk about that, and how that has impacted our being's life experience, which happens now, and how we can perhaps understand it. The mind can understand it. This is what's happening here. It's your mind understanding it, so that it can start reprogramming itself to see in, not out. That's the idea. So, concepts and some realizations. So, nature of thoughts. This is the biggest kind of cornerstone of this understanding, that there is a stream of movement, there is a stream of thoughts right now in your brain, and it continues. And we believe that we are in those thoughts, and we are the thinker. We are thinking the thoughts, and we are going somewhere, and we are thinking the thoughts based on the thoughts, previous thoughts. But that's not true from your own experience. In the last 5 minutes, the last 10 minutes, your thoughts have changed, but you haven't changed. The one which knows of all the movement of thought has always been here and will always be here. If you drop yourself, your being, a little bit lower, and understand that it's like watching cars go past by, or watching people go past by, like sitting in Paris in a cafe and having a cigarette, and literally just watching people go past. You're not the people you're watching. You're not the cars you're watching. You are watching it. What are you? We will talk about nature of our beings. But first of all, we have to understand the nature of thoughts. And what is a thought? A thought is connected to a previous thought. And that is connected to a previous thought, and that's connected to a previous thought. And that goes on from the start of time and start of dawn, or whatever you want to call it. It's the karmic line we call in yogic philosophy, for example. But in English, what I write in is it's a connected series of thoughts. One thought leads to another thought, leads to another thought, leads to another thought, leads to another. And it's a perpetual continuation of events, which you experience in the moment. One of it, the thought of now. But somehow we have been made to believe, because we have identity and we have a personality and we have a name and we have all of that, that all of those thoughts become a personality, and hence think in the future based on what has happened to that person, and all the memories and all the genetics and all the past and whatever it is, not just your life, but just the whole experience of being a human being, a human mind. So the nature of thoughts is movement. The nature of the knower of thoughts what you can call it awareness, you can call it our being, you can call it the knowing, you can call it whatever, but I call it I am. Knows of it. It's not changing. The one which knows of the thoughts was here half an hour ago, 1 year ago, 10 years ago, said my 15th birthday, my 25th birthday, my 30th birthday, where the experiences are ending, are finishing, has not changed, has it? The experience is changing, which is a movement of thought. I am a movement of thought in your mind right now. That is changing. But the knower of it is not changing. So that is the first realization, the first understanding, that my nature is very different from the nature of my thoughts. You are not your thoughts. You are the thought of now, and we'll talk about it. That's another concept. What is the thought of now? But this person who is sitting in the mind, and we go to the next subject, the thinker, is an amalgamation of all experience, all books, all culture, all history, all human subconscious, whatever it knows of. And that thinker lives in a container of time and space. So let's assume like this. Let's think about this. You and I and all of us, we experience life in the now. Agreed? Agreed? Have you ever been to then? You go to then, it becomes now, right? It's always just now, 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 now. So our life is more like this. It's not like this. It's not a continuum. It's more like we're experiencing life like this. And in the brain, imagine we have this container of time and space here, sitting on top of us, in which we have memories. Most of the memories we need to survive. How to eat, how to drink, how to go to the toilet, how to laugh, how to travel, whatever it is. Right. In that container, there is a thinker, Sebastian, which is an amalgamation of all things his parents told him, his culture told him, his own experiences told him. And that thinker has taken my mind, my body, into that time and space container. So it's misalignment with the reality. I, the experiencer of life, which is sitting here, which knows of all life, which is happening right now, is not in control of the mind, because the mind is being used for future and past by a thinker. But the mind believes we are the thinker. So it listens to it. While we are here experiencing life in fragments. The job of the mind is to be here, right now, where reality happens, and to translate the sensory experience into what we call human experience. For me, and for you, and for you, and for you, and for you. But no, we are never here. We are always in the past, the traumas of the past, and the fears of the future. The expectations, the desires, I want to do this, I want to do this. I ask you a question, and it's a very simple question. Do you need, any one of you, the traumas of the past or the fear of what might happen in the future to experience life right now? Do you?
No.
No. But why does our mind get engaged with it all the time? Because it's like a virus attached to it, which we call our personality. Now, coming to that personality, is it real? You are looking at me and you have an idea of Sebastian. You have an idea of Sebastian. You probably have a very different idea of Sebastian because we know each other. You have an idea of Sebastian. I have an idea of Sebastian. So where is Sebastian? Is it out there or is it in our minds? It's in our minds. So if Selen has a problem with Sebastian, is she going to change me or is she going to change her mind? Her mind. Right? So where is this personality? Is there a personality out there which I should be flaunting that this is me? No. There is just thoughts. There is just an idea. It's just a memory. It's just neural pathways. And what is that? Energy flow? which gets pruned into a specific kind of a brain through your childhood, and then when you eat, take oxygen, there are two things you put it in your body, right? Diet and oxygen. 80% of your thoughts, neurotransmission or the energy comes from food, 20% comes from oxygen for the brain. The same thoughts, the same ideas which have been programmed into you through all the conditioning are just engaged because that's the energy hungry pathways. So thoughts become perpetual. One thought leads to another thought, leads to another thought, leads to another thought, leads to another thought. And the experiencer of life, which is when we say I am, is just there waiting for this drama of life, this story of life to calm down, but it never calms down. Because right now, perhaps, I will move away from Selim to Veronica, for example. Right now, Veronica's mind has an idea of what she thinks is Veronica, right? You do. Then she has another idea of what that Veronica wants to be, Veronica version 2, which is another false idea. And then her brain probably, and you can agree or disagree and let me know, has an idea of what her mother wants her to be, what I want her to be, what her friends want her to be. So all these personalities are sitting in the mind, using your mind while you're living here. Do you need all of that? No. So how do we then train our mind to understand that the nature of reality is here and now, and it's always going to be internal, and my experience of reality is my personal experience. It's not really your experience, your experience, your experience, right? It's my perception. I can look at something and call it a beautiful chair, for example, or don't even call it a chair if I don't want to call it a chair. I could look at anything and animate it, for example. My mind could. Can we train our mind to understand this? To understand that the experiencer of life is here and now, and for that I need to generate an experience now, not in the future, not about the past. Is there a way for the mind to understand that? There is a way, and that's where alignment comes, that's where practice comes, of being still, being in the now, and then we'll talk about that in a bit. What does that mean? So, I think we've covered, it's going to be like this, we've covered a lot of these things, a lot of these aspects. Inner world versus outer world. So, right now, this is the biggest, I guess the biggest realization, which is very difficult to explain, is that there's nothing really out there. What does that mean? It doesn't mean that there isn't a glass out there. There is a glass out there because we've defined it. I don't know over how many years we have defined it to be a glass. There is a bottle out there. If you go 300 years, 400 years ago when glass or computer wasn't there, and bring that person now, they wouldn't know what this is, right? So for them, would be something totally different. So whatever is out there, whatever we share, for example, is a definition of a thought. We all get together and we're like, this is this, this is this, this is this, through language. But when you are looking there, what are you actually looking at? Your own mind. The movement. That's it. You are only experiencing your own body and mind continuously. So, there is an element of stillness, which is the nature of our beings, and then there is this movement, which is happening right now in your body, creating a life experience which looks outside as if it's outside, but it's actually happening inside you. Something goes wrong here, everything changes. Something goes wrong here, everything changes. Your energy lines are not working, the blood is not flowing, your stomach is bad, you know that, you're a nutritionist, everything changes. So to understand that all experience is actually internal to my being, to my body and to my mind, and the experiencer of life, and that's the last bit here, is different from this movement. Now, if you go into extreme non-duality, they will talk about that the experiencer is the same as the experience, which comes when you experience it yourself, when you go deep inside and you become the experiencer of life. But right now, for the matter of this discussion, or in this kind of domain, what we are trying to understand is that there is a movement of thought, of perception, of emotions, of sensations, of pain, of whatever it is. You are not it. You are experiencing it. It will move because it is cyclical in nature. Good, bad, day, night, this and that. That happens. Why does that happen? Because we define it. We define this is good, bad comes into existence. I want this, what I don't want comes into existence. But we forget about that. The mind forgets about that. What happens is all the good and all the best in the world gets accumulated in a personality and sits in our mind as an aspiration, continuously knocking, be like me, be like me, be like me. And that goalpost is continuously changing. While we are here waiting for this experience of life to be translated to us, that what is actually happening right now. All of these beings here, all of conscious beings, your bodies are working right now in harmony, generating this experience of life, blah, blah, blah. But the mind wants something else. It will never get it because it's an illusion. It's not reality. Reality happens now and here. And to see that, you need the totality of your mind's power and your body's power to be here and now, to translate that experience into what we call a conscious human experience. So this is the kind of the highlight of what happened, what I experienced, or what I understood, or what I realized, that it is apart from the thought of now, which leads to an action, naturally, nothing else matters. The rest is a story of life, not the experience of life. And to be happy, we need to focus on the experience of life, which is constantly being engaged since you were born, 5 senses continuously being engaged. And if we take a step back from our mind, for example, and go to a place where actually the taste and the smell and the love and the pain, everything comes to you, then you are bypassing your own conditioning, your own mind's little conditioning based on your background, your cultural history, whatever, that this is good and this is not good and this is... So you are not judging life by the glasses of your own conditioning, but you have dropped your conditioning and you have accepted the movement of life because you realize this is just my mind. And if it's just my mind, it can't be bad, is it? Because everything in there is defined by me. So I can change it. The mind can change it. The power of that how you look to me, for example, is in my control. Totally. Because it's my perspective. So I could look at everything as if it's magic. Because it is magic. All of this is happening in my mind. You look at me differently, she looks at me differently. So it's all happening in your minds. Totally. There is a sense of agreement of my hair are long, blah, because we defined hair and we defined long. But the knowledge, the feeling, how you feel when you look at me and how you feel when you look at me and how you feel when you look at me, is totally yours. Can we rest in that? Can we savor that? Can we look at someone or something and say, this is my world and I will make it better? Now the game starts. You realize, all of you, I realize at least, are characters in my world. If you are in pain, I'm going to fix it. That's how the world is going to change. By giving. Because this is my world. It's not out there. And I'm not going to change you. I'm just going to be at service of you. With love, with passion, with compassion, with whatever I've learned. because then my world changes. And then if you see that, you will do the same with your family. Then their world changes and your world changes. And that's how change comes in society. Not by changing someone else, but by changing your own perspective. And how do we do that? You have to look at it. Why is your perspective a certain way? I can tell you it's very simple, because you grew up like that. But do you see that? No. The mind does not see its own perspective. So we need to come out of it and let the mind go into introspection. Why do I feel like this when something happens in front of me? When I know this is life, I am life. They are doing what they are supposed to do. I am doing what I'm supposed to do. Why do I feel bad? Oh, because I've been trained to feel bad. But that's not you. That's your mind. Being stolen by this personality you think you are. You are something else. What are you? The nature of our beings. Now we talk about that. I'm in Thailand nowadays, in Greece, right? So if I bring a new fruit, which you guys have never tasted from Thailand, and I give it to you, you will taste it. And as soon as you will taste it, you will know the taste. How do you know the taste?
You feel it.
Yeah, but how do you know the taste? And we all will agree on the taste. We will try to define it. Ah, it's like chocolate. It's like, but how do you know the taste?
Based on experience.
No, you have never tasted it before.
But like past something that are similar.
Nope. It's a unique taste.
Taste.
When your children, when your mother gave you chocolate for the first time, she didn't explain to you it's going to be like this. You knew you tasted chocolate. It's all in you. The experiencer of life is also the creator of life. Information is meeting information. It's as simple as that. And why do you and I agree on the smell of rose and the taste of coffee and the taste of a cigarette or whatever it is? Because that experiencer is one. The life you experience and the life I experience, there's no difference. Preferences and perception is different. But behind that is all what we see. It is one reality. Life. And it's being experienced in different forms and different expressions. But it's life. That's what we are. Piece of life. Experiencing Sebastian's point of view, experiencing Veronica's point of view, experiencing Sam's point of view. But what is it which is experiencing? Life. Can you define it? Can you name it? Can you say where it is? Probably no. But that's what you mean when you say I am. That's the funny bit. I am is a constant. I am is not changing. What I am experiencing is changing. But I am the same 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 1 hour ago. Even now, in the last 1 hour, your thoughts have changed. But have you changed? The one which knows of the thoughts? No, that's omnipresent. And it's present here, in you, in me, everywhere. Can we see that? Can we train the brain to realize the nature of reality, the nature of experience, the nature of a being which is bigger than the mind itself? That is the question. That is what people have been seeking for thousands and thousands of years. Because in that is knowledge, in that is love, in that is peace, in that is understanding of what is it which will make you blissful, not euphoric, not experience-driven, dopamine-driven happiness, but more sense of being, sense of contentment, sense of, okay, this is me. I don't change. I experience change. When we believe we are changing, then you cannot experience the change which you're supposed to experience. Our nature, where we feel all life, where the taste of coffee, the smell of rose, the love for your mother comes to us, is outside of the thinking mind. Living a life from that place is our true aim of life, is our true nature. Living a life in the stream of thoughts is not what we came to see here. It's not what we came to experience here. We came to experience the flow of thought, the flow of perception, the flow of pain, the flow of sensation, but not be it. Because if you become it, you are not in your natural state of being, you're not at rest, and you're not at peace. And then you're continuously chasing. The mind is continuously chasing, and that never finishes. So now, globally, you see this big drive for a lot of people trying to understand, why is there pain in the world? Why is there war? Why is there poverty? Am I not happy when I have the money and when I've achieved so much? It's because we have come to believe that we are the thinker. No, that's the virus. Leached onto the brain, using your brain, and with it comes all the traumas, not just yours, but your ancestors, their ancestors, the human trauma, whatever it is, leached onto your brain. Sorry, what's your name?
Veronica.
Veronica. Oh, two Veronica. Yeah, you were born and you were given this name and identity and culture and all of that, and in the next 20, 30, whatever years, how many, you were just programmed to become something and someone. Do you want to live a life of limited perspective, like horses are like this, and see reality from what has been taught into you, or do you want to see the totality of reality, for which you actually came here as a human, as a conscious being? I think the answer is very clear. So, can we train the mind to understand that the nature of reality is internal and not external, because it is a mind game? You see, you, me, the experiencer of life, what we mean when we say I am, does not think. It knows. It's always here. It's omnipresent. It's God's eye, if you want to call it that way. It's still, it's now, it's the universe, whatever you want to name it. I would never, it's very difficult to call it something. But that's what is experiencing life. Not the mind. The mind is a translator of the sensory experience which is happening in your body. It's very clear. But it's not here. It's somewhere else. And it doesn't need to be somewhere else, because life is happening here and now, never there and then. Time, for example, is a difference between now and then, right? Always. That's what time is. It's a measurement. But we established you've never been to then. It's always now, always here. And if you are okay now, and now, and now, and now, if you have a penny more than you need now, you'll always be fine. That's reality. The rest is a drama which all of our minds are playing right now, and it's not our drama. It's just programming in your minds. It's nothing to do with us. Zero. Our aim is to train the mind to see that, so it can remove the thinker, the voice, continuously telling us what to do, and taking our body and mind on a bloody ride of time and space container where we don't exist, and then we are not happy. As we get older, that sense becomes more heightened, that there is something missing. Yeah, something is missing because you're never here. Reality only happens here and now. It's never there and then. It's never in the future. It's always here. So the idea is to show the mind your presence, the presence of stillness. That's the philosophy here. Some people call it silence, some people call it God, call it whatever you want to call it. But in this room, at least, we call it observation, stillness, the knowledge of the movement, the still point where all the thoughts are moving, all the sensations are moving, all the pain is moving, all of it is moving. That's still point. So can we go to that still point, for example, and train the brain, which is moving right now because of Sebastian, to come here. Now, yoga, union with Christ. In Islam, Wahdat al-Wujud, one with existence. Every philosophy, every religion has this concept. Fight your ego, your nafs, your personality. It's not a ego we are, in English we think of, like the bad things. No, it's the whole thing which we have come to believe that we are. I am this person, and I have these habits, and I want to do this, and I want to do that. That's just in your mind. Everyone thinks of you differently. You are an idea. Your personality is an idea in multiple minds. Do you want to live like that? I don't think so. I don't think anyone wants to live a false, fake life, basically. Now, why is it making more sense in this time and age? Because of how we live. Our phone habits, our eating habits, our breathing habits, everything has been controlled by the mind. And the mind has been corrupted by all of this stuff. So it's just not working for a lot of us. And so we ask this question, is this what we are destined to do? A powerful conscious being. I was talking to my mom the other day, I was like, a lizard can grow a tail in like what, 10-15 minutes or something like that if it loses its tail, or some days or whatever it is. And we are human beings. We are very powerful, the being. But this is the selfish gene. It has been programmed to want, to create individualism, to understand that I am separate from others. How can you be separate from me when you are all in my mind? And I can define however I want to define this group of people. How is that separation? Am I separate from my own mind? No, it's my mind. Are you a separate person? It looks as if that way, which is beautiful, which is what I perhaps came to see here. A conscious being expressing life differently, a conscious being expressing life differently. I can get behind my mind, like we are all behind our minds right now, right? We can watch our minds, it's moving. You can get behind your body too, you can see your body. Can you get behind yourself? No. So how do you get to know yourself? You look at me, I look at you. Expression of life, different expression. All the diversity, all the nature is a movement of life. What looks different isn't different. It looks different for our pleasure. Enjoy it. Don't think it's different. Don't create war. It's one ball. You are that side of the ball, you are that side of the ball, you are that side. And there's a certain movement, and that creates all this life. But behind, the reality is one. The fabric, the actual fabric of reality is one. Perceptive reality is many. And that's why we came here. Because by knowing you, I get to know myself. Wow, life can do this and this and this and that and this. And I'm life. So, do you want to live with the programmed reality of Sebastian? For example, I'm asking myself, where I'm an alone individual in 8 billion people and probably trillions of creatures, or do I want to accept all as mine and realize this is all me? Because it's my mind. It's a monumental difference. And especially in the Western philosophy, which started 500 years ago by René Descartes and those philosophers, I think, therefore I am. Slowly and gradually, we have become individuals chasing something continuously. Are we happy? No. We get pleasure, yes, here and there, but when that goes away, the sadness, the suffering is extreme. Does it make sense for the creator of life? And I ask this from women here who create life. You know, you guys do something crazy. Think about it. Creator of life Does it make sense for us to be suffering? I don't think so. Can we numb the suffering? Yeah. Where is suffering? In the mind. Why? Memory. I break up with someone. The whole memory gets engaged. Now I'm going to be lonely. Now has it happened? Nope. Is it sitting in the mind? Yeah. Somebody planted it or you experienced it before. Most of the time you haven't even experienced it. It's just a memory. That if this happens, this is going to happen. And we just live in if, then, else continuously. We never live actually here and experience, observe our own thoughts. That is the moment of now. Because right now, you are only experiencing your own mind. And if the mind calms down, and it comes to now, where you are, then you have a lot more brain power to experience life where it actually happens. Always in the now, always here. Never there, never then. So that is the whole understanding in a nutshell. I could talk about it for years and years and years, literally, but I think we will go to question and answers. If you guys have any question, if you have any idea you want to discuss, please.
How do you choose your experiences?
You don't.
If you don't look at the past, you don't look at the future,
Yeah.
and you exist, life exists through you.
Yeah.
Being in the present
Yeah.
is no choice.
There is a choice in the brain, and you're watching the brain. Give me an example. I come to you right now and I ask you a question. Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Coffee. The brain made a decision, right? Agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Memory of taste came.
Memory of taste came and the brain made a decision. That's how all the decisions are being made. Every decision is being made based on the conditioning the mind has at that moment. What's your name, sorry?
Laura.
Laura. The next thought was Laura made a choice. No, Laura didn't make a choice. The brain made a choice. The brain is conditioned, and this is very important because it will give you some peace. Actually, it gave me a lot of peace. Every moment, all the brains are making a decision, right, to do something. That decision is based on all the memory and conditioning the brain has. So no other decision can be made. Just observe it. Can't do anything about it. And that moment. You are observing the doing, you are not doing it. The doing is done by the programming. You can watch it. If the programming is off, for example, from the laws of nature and love, and you're watching it, it will change. That's what neuroplasticity is. Change comes not from me telling you to change something, but change comes from you watching your own habits, in a way, your own decisions, your own movement of life. There is a watcher, and then there is a doer. Until the doer comes in total alignment with the watcher, that's what we are talking about, yoga, union, self-realization. To claim back the doing which serves our purpose, and not a compulsive, addictive, and conditioned and a programmed response, basically. That's the idea. So the brain is making choices based on your conditioning, accepted that first of all, that you don't have a choice over it, it's happening, but you know of it. Once the brain knows that you are watching it, those choices will change in line with you. For example, a smoker will smoke, right? Yeah, a smoker will smoke. You can't stop it, really. Like people go through, years and years of like training to stop it. How you can stop it? You become more conscious. That's what they say, right? Conscious smoking will help you stop it. It's not that. It's you know that I am watching myself. With time, the brain will understand the watcher is where I really need to focus, and if it's not helping the watcher, slowly that habit will go away. and you think that you have made a choice, fine, that is just in the mind. But alignment of the choices and our being is what we are trying to achieve. So every moment, all the brains here and in the world are making a decision. I give you this example. For example, there's someone sitting in front of me and I have a gun in my hand. And right now I have two choices. You would think I have two choices, right? Kill the person or not kill the person. Do I really have a choice? If I kill the person, I've killed the person because of all my trauma and experiences and background. If I haven't, that's also because something got woken up. So in the moment, there isn't really a choice. It's just going to happen what the mind is supposed to do. Looking back, you can say, oh, there was a choice. No, at that time. You don't know. You just do it. The mind just does it. Now, if you are very aware of it, the mind wouldn't do it. Because it understands that that is against the laws of nature, the laws of love, the laws of unity, the laws of oneness. That's the idea. And in English, you will be like, be more mindful, be more conscious. But we are talking about a totally different thing. We are talking about living life from a state of observation only. And let the mind hone itself, align itself to us. And what are us is where the real magic starts. You are the observation of now, but you're not limited to your body or mind. And that you can only realize once you meditate, you go in, you practice, you realize, okay, this is me, the thoughts are moving. When we meditate, you will experience that. We will go to a state where the thoughts will start moving. And then I cannot teach you what you are. That is your own journey to go and become it. And that's where you will get the realizations and understanding of, I was always there. I am omnipresent. Nothing has ever happened to me. I'm experiencing change, but it's not happening to me. This is the main difference. I'm experiencing life. I'm experiencing pain. I'm experiencing pleasure. I'm experiencing all of this duality, which goes in yin yang and cycle of life or whatever it is. It's never going to be one thing or the other, right? It has to move. But it's not happening to me because the knower of all of this is continuously present and it's bigger than the change itself. And that is the power of life. Yeah. Are we all going to be free of pain all the time? No, that's part of life. We came here to experience Laura's life in totality. A non-dual being is experiencing duality. If the dual world also becomes non-dual and it just becomes good, you are going to see a dot that said beep. You are experiencing a frequency. In that frequency, because of language is the first thing humans differentiate from other animals, right? Language. Good, bad, this and that, day and night, blah. All of this is defined by us. Do you think cats understand what a tree is? Do you think cats understand day and night? No, they don't think like that. Perhaps we don't know if they think like that. They just, it's instinct. It's magnetic forces. Like there's so much research of how these, birds fly across the continent without, understanding what day and night is. It's because there's a magnetic pull in the eye. Something like that. We don't even know. We just think about these things. But a non-dual existence, non-dual means still, not changing, is experiencing the word of duality. We need to just go back to our place and the world of duality will start making its sense. Again, give you an example. You're sitting on a bench watching cars go past by, which is the world of duality. If you jump into the cars, it will take you away for a ride. You wouldn't experience what you're supposed to experience. So you have to come back, and that's what meditation is. And meditation is not just a practice, right? Which you do sit down and you just do it all, for 1 hour, 20 minutes or 30 minutes. That's how you start. Meditation becomes a way of life. In English, we call it metacognition. You are continuously aware of what you're doing. Self-mastery it's hard. It's the birth of, like Alan Watts say, birth of responsibility. That, I know, but this mind doesn't. Can we align this mind to me, to you, to nature, to life? Is meditation. So we watch ourselves continuously. How you take the steps, how you eat, how you sit, how you take a shower, how you do all life. Bring that sense of awareness to your own actions, and you will feel, you will see that you start doing everything with love. You will slow down. You will be more here, because you know this is where I am. The mind will stop thinking about the future and the past, and slowly, I'm not saying it will come directly to the now, but 5-year horizon becomes a year horizon, becomes a month horizon, becomes a week horizon, becomes a day's horizon. You realize that I don't need these thoughts to live life. Let thoughts and experiences and life emerge around you. That is the nature of reality. We are still being, and life is happening around us. It's going to continue to. Why pierce through life and try to become something based on your limited background, conditioning, experiences, whatever it is? It's nothing to do with you. It's your mind. That is the main difference. That is the problem. We believe we are in our mind, yet when we say I am, we go here. We never do like this, but we believe we are the thinker. We are thinking our actions, our plans, our desires. They're not your desires. They are just desires programmed into you. Your desire is to live and be healthy, clearly. Nothing else matters. We all know that. But will the mind let you do that? Nope. You all know working for 10 hours a day in a city and all of this lifestyle and our eating habits and all of this is not healthy for you. But do we stop it? Nope. That is the power of the programming of the mind, the karma, the conditioning. Can we break it? Yes. Extreme work, extreme diligence is required. But it's not you. That is the first realization. That I am separate from this personality which is continuously changing, continuously evolving, continuously growing. But from your own experience of life, that's not the case. You don't change. You've always been the same. The knowledge of all life, where all life is coming to you, is the same. It's always been here. 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 20 years ago, if you are, if you're over 20. So, that is it's a flip. It's not a spiritual experience. This is very important. We are all having spiritual experience right now by just living. It's a flip of the mind to realize that reality is very different from what it's been programmed to think. So that it comes to you, the creator of life. Not doing experiences, not chasing experiences, not judging people, not judging instances based on your own conditioning. Some things are good for some people, and it's very simple. I don't need to go into that. If I don't like something, it's my problem. Because if it's happening, it's happening. And most of the time it's already happened, so I can't even change it. So just shut up. And that is where the idea is that if you keep on watching your mind and if you keep on going to that space, the mind starts changing. But by reading books or by listening to me, nothing is going to change. It's just a spark, because you're still in the mind, you're thinking about it. By being in that space, by experiencing the state of stillness, the state of observation, the mind, this is what yoga is, right? When you go into these movements or breathing or whatever it is, you are showing the mind that I am here, watch here, it's all here, it's all now, it's nothing else. And you don't think about the future or the past, you just think about what's happening right now. That's what meditation is. And so the mind is training itself. And that's where the magic is. Like, you guys are sitting here because something in your lives needs to perhaps change. Something, there is a question being asked. And that is asked by the mind. So you, the experiencer of life, it's kind of a lucky instance for us because we are hearing this. The mind is already changing. That's the magic. Can it change further? Yeah. But we want it to change from within. The source of thought. Is it you or is it Laura?
I understand what you're saying. From my perspective, I think a lot of people will struggle. Not a lot of people. I will struggle with that because a lot of my experiences are good.
Yeah, but
So why would I go for all the change if a lot of the
you don't have to.
that I am
You don't have to.
don't have to? Okay.
You don't have to. If you're happy with your state of being, it's great.
It's happiness is, you know, it's
I-
just ever changing, but I mean, you
When-
know,
when-
you
yeah.
put the totality.
Exactly. When something happens to you, and it happens to all of us at some point in life, especially as we get older,
Yeah.
then we realize, oh, you know, this is not really me. Like it was fine, and then it suddenly changed, but I haven't changed. When life changes very fast, you realize stillness, basically. That's what plant medicine do, for example. Thoughts change very fast, and you go, oh, this is not me. That's what meditation is. You know, thoughts are moving, and you're coming out of it, and you realize this is not me. If your life experience right now, or it has happened in a very blissful manner, consider yourself lucky. Not blissful, but
I think I understand what you're saying when the stillness comes, things align.
the mind aligns to you. The mind aligns
I
to
think the
now.
experience is aligned to your mind in a sense.
Experiences are happening in the mind. They're not happening out there. You are just experiencing your own mind right now. Totally. That is a universal knowledge.
That is a concept that I think as soon as you said it, I went,
It's very simple. It's your perspective. We call it mindset or perspective in English. It's your perspective. Same thing could look.
it really isn't.
No, there is a shared sense of what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the chair, but I can find the chair absolutely beautiful, and if you are in a state of mental health issues or whatever, you won't even look at it.
You're different to me. You're a completely different being.
No,
You don't
not a being.
experience
My
it.
mind is different.
You exist there and there as a physical matter. It's not
Ah.
my mind or my.
So can you tell me, where do you feel the love of your mother? Where is it? Where is that physical place?
But I'm not talking about feeling, I'm talking about existing.
Yeah. Where do you exist?
Here, now.
Where? Show me.
Here.
Point. There is no place. Your knowledge of life is everywhere, in the body and outside the body. When you eat something, try and next time follow the taste and tell me where it finishes.
That's the difference because we're saying you're talking about an action and a being.
No.
I'm not perceiving the idea of a being. A being exists.
Yes,
I'm
where?
a being. It's the difference between feeling the love, that's a feeling. It's the perception of someone else. I'm like so selfish that my mind imagined a whole different being in front of me. And I've existed, I've given the other being attributes and personality. That's the whole, I think. Maybe I need to understand a bit more, but I'll think about it.
No, so
Sandrina's right here.
sorry?
She's right here. She wasn't here for a moment ago. She went and she came back.
Yeah, but does she exist for someone who is not looking at her right now? No.
But I felt her went.
No, but you felt her well because this is your perceptive reality. We're talking about
Really good, and she's running.
beautiful. Perceptive reality is different.
I showered today.
Laura, perceptive reality is different from reality.
I got what it says.
That's
Is there a difference between me perceiving or feeling or another being? I think that's the question from your side. Because you talked about shared collective being. Is it that's what I'm feeling because we're the same?
No, you're just looking at an image. What's behind?
But have you ever felt like when someone sits with just someone has an edge and sits next to you, you know they're there, you just know they're there.
Okay. So do you know that the door is behind you?
I think
Do you know a cat is next to you? Do you know there's air? Do you know there's millions and trillions of bacteria around you? Are you aware of that? They're all beings, right? Life is happening continuously around you. You are not separate from life. That is a being which is more profound, and that's been programmed into our minds to consider her a separate being over billions of years of, you can call it evolution, but evolution of thought. Do you think in a million years' time you will be able to, perhaps your eyes will develop so much that you will be able to see the bacteria and then you'll be like, oh, there are beings all around me all the time? Yes, probably. You are just seeing what you're programmed to see. I am talking about where life comes to you, the taste, the smell, 5 senses, where they come to you. Where is that place? Because that is what you mean by life. That's it. That is your life, that is your experience of life, continuously engaged as 5 senses coming in. You could be in a jail, you could be in a plane, you could be anywhere, but that experience does not change. The quality can change, the preferences can change, I don't like this, blah, blah, but the experience of eating, for example, and the taste is the same wherever you are. That 5 sensory experience is your experience of life. What is experiencing it is a question you have to answer yourself.
I have a question. So, what about, for example, thoughts that generate anxiety?
Yeah.
So, of course, you said you detach yourself from hustling and bustling of London, but you've been there. Some of us are still in it.
In it, yeah.
So there will be kind of like needs that come from your life.
Yeah.
In my case, it's usually planning, and I'm always planning like 6 months in advance. And I give myself anxiety based on what I'm planning.
Yeah.
So even if I'm in the now, I will be thinking about 6 months from now.
Yeah.
And then I will be giving myself anxiety. But then if I don't plan, like I need at some point to plan.
Who told you that?
Well, if I don't decide.
How many of your plans have come for fruition in the last, how old, I don't know, 25 years?
Well, they do.
Okay,
They
so
kind of do.
your life is exactly how you wanted it to be right now. So you're absolutely happy. Life happens. You see, in meditation, what will happen, if you go deep inside, introspection basically, is that your mind goes back into your history and the history of life and realizes that there was never, what's your name, sorry?
Julia.
There was never a Julia. There was never a thinker. Things just happened. Life is a connected series of events. You are thinking about something, I'm thinking about something, she's thinking about something. We don't even know if we'll all go for dinner after this, for example. That's how life happens. And we have been programmed, our minds have been programmed to plan, but actually planning is not really needed for the movement of life.
It's actually bad.
It's actually bad because you are restricting your natural bodily needs and mental needs, which will happen naturally, for example. No. So you said you are always here, but your mind is programmed to think. Well, that's what we have to change. We have to make the mind understand that there is no need for extreme programming. Exactly. There is a desire which comes, it can come, a thought which can come, a plan which can come. We let it pass. We put it in a drawer and we just live with the thought of now. Because I ask you a question. In the now, actions matter? Only actions matter, right? Nothing else matters. How you act, you can come and slap me, for example, that's what matters. And actions happen because of what? A thought?
Yeah.
So only the thought of now matters. We need to train the mind so that
Thoughts
it
of
can
the
put,
future
and the
don't really
past.
it will not matter now.
It will not matter now. So the thoughts will come, the desires will come, the traumas will come, but they are diluted and they kind of resolve themselves and they kind of go into a drawer or they just, somewhere in a distance memory. Because your mind understands that for this person, I can call you Julia or whatever, but this person, this being, I don't really need that engagement of the past and the future. If it happens, it's okay, it will happen. But right now, where the master is, I call it the master, the experiencer of life, that's where I need to be. So I'm going to go there. And the rest will resolve itself when the time comes, basically.
So I have a few questions.
Yes.
is very much about your trajectory. Why? Because you mentioned you had 3 hours of
Experience.
like bliss, right? So, first question, that happened again after that time, like a really long bliss experience. And why I question this? Why I question this is because I meditate for a long time. I know people who meditate. I know people who use plants. I used plants already, but I didn't have the awakening you were talking about. Because, for example, Eckhart Tolle, he has an awakening. So you consider you had a similar awakening than him? This is the question. The second question, are you able to be without thinking, like easily, or you are like a normal person tries to meditate?
Sorry,
And-
now or before?
No, now,
Now,
after
okay.
that experience.
Yeah.
And the first question is like, I'm very impressed with the time that it happens, because you mentioned 1 year to write 4 books,
I know.
and to all this knowledge you are sharing. And so, did you have before, like, studied something like this? Are you channeling knowledge, or are you reading like a book a week? Because there are many speakers
Sure.
about this awakening, and I follow many of them.
Many.
And so I'm a bit impressed about this 1 year. It's quite a
I am
remarkable
impressed too.
time.
I trust you.
So,
So
yeah,
it's a very valid question.
Basically,
Very
I
good.
would like more details
Context.
about your experience
Yeah.
to understand who you truly are.
Right.
maybe.
So
Or maybe my ego is doubting
you,
all this.
I love
Could
it.
be like
This is the most beautiful thing because
I suppose my ego is questioning many things. Why Eckhart Tolle took like lots of years to get somewhere, and he is a really awakened person.
yeah, because that's
From my perspective,
because he's Eckhart Tolle.
for my limited perspective.
So the answer to that is this: you're not the only one. I have actually Chris, for example, I have students who are yogis, and they've traveled the world looking for answers, and somehow they met me. Like literally, I'm sitting in a cafe, and they just come and we start this conversation, and I'm guiding them and I'm telling them all of this thing, and they have the same question, because your mind is conditioned to ask that question. It's asking that question. This flip can happen to you tomorrow, but it's not in your control, right? It's your karmic line. You understand that, right?
Yeah.
I'm Punjabi, so that's one thing. I'm predisposed to understand this, because if you go back to where this all started, this separation from oneness happened when we built civilizations, when we started growing, when we started owning things, when there was family, when there was name, identity, blah, blah, blah. And if you go to the history of human movement, when we left Africa, for example, looking for water, we settled in Nile and we settled in the Indus Valley civilization. And the biggest civilization was the Indus Valley civilization. There, somebody started growing apple, banana, blah, 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 and they became Mr. Apple, Mr. Banana, blah, 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 blah. Identity was created in the cradle of civilizations. And at that point, my ancestors, potentially, I didn't know this stuff, this is people telling me, right, wrote the philosophy of the self, Hinduism. The whole yogic philosophy originated from the Indus Valley civilization. So it's in my memory. They're my ancestors, clearly. So it came back to me very fast. That's the answer. All of the downloads happen very fast. So that's the answer. Now, Eckhart Tolle and I, the mind is different. It's programmed in a different way. I have not read a spiritual book, ever. I have not seen spiritual movies. I have not looked at this time. This is what I am experiencing right now. That's why I'm not thinking when I'm talking to you. I'm just talking. So, the state of bliss you're talking about, I experience it constantly. That's the answer. And it's a pretty crazy place, but that's how I can talk about these things in a flow.
So you So you define that 3 hours in the beach in Thailand as a awakening moment.
That is an awakening, and then you work towards alignment or self-realization or self-embodiment. If you want to call it enlightenment, you can call it enlightenment. And that's where the training comes. You meditate regularly, you show your face, and that's what we teach. You show your face to the brain. That's what it is, right? I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. And the brain, if Sebastian was already dead, like Eckhart Tolle was already dead, the personality, because it had so much pain and blah, blah, blah. And it had come from a karmic line of thought, which was very developed, right? That's another thing. It's not just you, it's your karmic line. Then the brain, it's easier for the brain to come to me. There's a difference between awakening and realization of the self. That is the path which Patanjali wrote about. That's the pyramid I talk about. That's the pyramid of Maslow, for example. Self-actualization, self-realization, self-embodiment, enlightenment, whatever you want to call it. Awakening is a very simple concept. You can take some mushrooms or do ayahuasca or do a deep meditation and you are awakened. Awakening is I'm here and I'm not this. Realization of the self is this slows down over time and it comes to union with you, yoga, yoke. And that is when you have the brain power to write a book in a day. That's what I did with this book, because I have no other thought.
Wow. That's amazing. Well done. Really
Thank
amazing.
you. But that's what happens, and all of you can do that. Why you can do that? Because you're listening to this. If you walked out of the room halfway through, you're not ready. But your mind is asking a question. It's saying, this is the reality, this is the truth, and this can be achieved not by only me. It's our birthright. It's what we are here for. It's the cosmic joke to claim back our own body and mind from this personality which we are experiencing. Can we do that? My friend, a lot more people will do that. That is evolution. Not for everyone, for the select. It's always been the case. Evolution doesn't happen to the masses. You all know what's going to happen in the next 5-10 years. We are all quiet, but you all know the crisis which we have built in the world of thought, poverty, climate, inflation, wars, mass migration. We are sitting on a time bomb. Will there be people who will be philosophers, writers, poets, politicians, musicians, nutritionists of tomorrow, who are more aware, who have more power over their brain? Yes. How much power? I don't know. You can write a book in 3 days if you really want to. If I put you in a room and I say you have nothing else to do, write a book, you will. That's the problem. Anyone can do that. Your brain is not different from my brain. So what's your name?
Marley.
Marlene or Marley?
Marley.
Marley. Your brain is not different from my brain. It's just programmed differently. Can we change that base programming? Remove it. Totally. So it opens up. Yes. I am not different from you. We are the same. Our brains are programmed to be different. Is that a beautiful thing? Yes, because it's movement of life. But is it changing very fast now? Yes. That is why the select will understand this, will adopt this, and become the leaders of tomorrow, become the teachers of tomorrow, become the lovers of tomorrow. That is what evolution is. Evolution of thought, and hence the experience of life. Not evolution of us. We are here, always. Consciousness, conscious being does not change. What it's experiencing changes. Now it's going to go at a speed. You know why? Because of AI, because of technology. We have a thing that all of us carry which controls everything we do. For the first time in human history, We have built something which tells us what to do, when to pick up, when to eat, what to buy, what not to buy, all of this stuff. And my friend Helen is a nutritionist, and she will tell you, now it tells you what to eat. And not just the right advice, but it tells you conditioned advice of millions and millions and millions of people. I pick up the phone and I look at it like, I don't eat eggs, and my dad is telling me to eat eggs, and I'm like, oh my God, what should I do? We are screwed, basically. The world of thought, it's like a mesh. And in the mesh, all of our nodes, all the brains are nodes, and it needs to be harmonious. But right now, it's just not in a certain harmony for consciousness or life or Mother Earth or Gaia or whatever you want to call it, to experience peace and sense of serenity like the universe is. We are in conflict with our own self, nothing else. We know buying plastic is bad. All of us buy plastic. We know eating meat is not good for you, especially the meat which you buy from supermarket. You want to eat meat, go and kill it yourself. Everyone talks about it. Nobody does it. I don't eat meat either. But we even feed it to our kids. I asked my brother, I was like, do you go to KFC? Yeah, it's, what is it, right? It's not even chicken. It's like, and you feed it to your kids. What kind of a father are you? There is conflict continuously. There is unhappiness. But it's not out there. It's between the truth, which is you and I, the truth of I am, versus what I have become. Can we change what I have become? Easily.
Hard.
No, easily from within. If you know how to meditate, we are trying to change the source of thought. The source needs to come from what you can call it the core or the heart, but it's you. I am. Not what she was saying, the planner, the conditioned reality. I have to plan. She knows she doesn't have to plan. She knows. She can live a life perfectly happy without planning. Little bit of planning.
I see it as a soul, like what you call the observer, to me is like my soul.
Okay.
And then I try to think, especially you know me, I deal with anxiety. So whenever I have anxiety, in the moments of heightened anxiety, I start to think, okay, right now, it's my mind suppressing my soul. That's why I'm having anxiety. So what does my soul need right now? And if I can find the answer to it and honor that, it really helps my anxiety, but I cannot do it all the time.
No,
Like,
because
sometimes it's so hard and it's impossible.
I'll tell you why. You said my soul and my mind and my body. Who's the my? That's where I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's it. We go there.
Yeah.
My is what you say, where all experiences come to you, where you feel the love for Connor, where you feel the love for me.
But then in my
In your
mind,
you have a concept.
or what I might, like I'm thinking,
Yeah, that's the problem.
my is,
Yeah.
that's
My is what?
But like trying to define it, then my is the actual my.
Yeah. Is what?
The alignment of the soul and the mind, kind of, maybe.
Yeah, but it's not, it doesn't do anything. It's an experience. The mind, the body, the
The
soul.
experience is in the mind, so.
No, the end of the experience. The mind is just a story. It's translating, but the knowledge of experience, the way you know I am alive, is not happening in the mind.
So how do you shift then when you're in those
Meditation.
moments, your mind is racing?
Meditation. And proper meditation, not just meditation focusing on another thing, or
Yeah.
counting or doing something or using your mind. Dropping down to a place where your thoughts start moving. And as soon as the first thought moves, you realize it will all move.
Yeah.
And I'm still here. So nothing is going to happen to me. Thoughts can come and go. This is the job of the gods, my dear. This is very hard. I know that.
Yeah.
You know me, like I was, it is impossibly hard. So you have to cultivate it. And with time, for example, I slowly, the mind changes. it ignores its own thoughts. It realizes that it's not in the benefit of anyone because it's not reality. Reality is there. And there, here, now, is never a problem, is there? If you just remain here, if you just remain here. Anxiety is something about the future or memory. This might happen, like for example, you have an argument with Connor and then you feel lonely. You're not lonely, you just think that because of that something might happen and then this might happen and you might end up feeling lonely, but in actuality you're not lonely. So we go back to you and show you that actually nothing ever happens to you.
Yeah, that's hard work though.
But that's where we find peace in.
Yeah. When you, sorry.
So,
Okay, go ahead, sorry.
No, you guys choose.
You go ahead, Marty, yeah. Marty.
When you say go back to you,
Yeah.
it's like being the body,
Mm.
feeling.
We will meditate and I'll show you.
Okay, great.
That's the whole idea. I can do enough talk. I can talk about it for years.
Looking
Right?
forward to it.
Yeah, somebody needs to hold space in meditation. You know how it is. It's a kriya. It's a method, and I will drop you to a place down where hopefully you will experience a moment of no thought, and then I will show you your thoughts, and you will realize a lot has changed, but I have held you with me, and you were omnipresent. So it's like we bring you down from this drama of life, story of life I call it, to actually the experience of life, which is very different from the story of life. The story has the control or the power to change your experience now, because there is worry and there is memory and there is this and there is that. But actually the experience of life is very different and it's very blissful. So we'll go there.
So, my question is, what's your take on doing work at a mind level? For example, when the mind is very contaminated, very polluted by past traumatic experiences or anxiety or panic attacks and all of that. So what's your take on doing work at the mind level, as I said, in order to maybe alleviate
Allow meditation.
the story, to be able to
As-
sink and sit with it?
What we are doing that here right now.
Yeah?
This is what's happening. I am talking to your mind to allow meditation, to allow peace. That's it. This is exactly what's happening. This is therapy, if you want to look at it that way. I am talking to your mind. I'm not talking to you. You know there is that person who wants to be, you want to feel that presence. But right now, I am talking to the mind so that this person realizes or understands the truth a little bit, a mental level, and allows meditation and allows mindfulness, if you want to call it that way, or peace, and allow to go inside and be yourself. And this is why, when I work with people one-to-one, we call it an initiation, because it's, for a lot of people, it's the first time they are going to feel themselves. And that's a big thing. That's a big thing, because it's the first time you are going to be out of your mind and you will feel immense peace.
Is that the same experience that you had by the beach?
As I don't know the intensity, I had no sensation, but you will have bodily sensation and mental sensation. But for me, it was like it felt like a death experience. And lots of memories came, just lots happened in that 3 hours, especially when I woke up. The whole thing flashed. And it feels like, if you ask me, that is what we want to achieve in meditation. We want the brain to shut down for a moment, die, DMT gets released. And then when it comes back online, there is no perceptive source for the conditioning of the mind. There is only one source, you, where all experiences are already being housed, basically. So the mind gets reconditioned with the eternal source of information, which is the conscious being. Like just looking in the room, our mind is just so conditioned not to accept the fact that actually what is happening here, like, there are different people, different beings, everyone's tasting, everyone's neural, what's it called? The nervous system is working, it's generating an experience, it's all happening. Then there are cats and dogs, and all of that we have taken for granted. Life we have taken for granted. So to change that, it's not, I cannot write books about it and you cannot read about it because it's all perceptive reality. Your brain has to shut down for one moment, literally. And you have to go into a state of total samadhi, which we call, and that's not enlightenment or self-realization. That's an awakening. That's a proper awakening. From there on, the alignment starts. How long does that take? It depends on the programming of your brain. That was the answer to her question. If your brain, for example, if you're Asian, if you're Punjabi, if you're coming from that part of the world where non-dualism and Sufism and yogi culture is part of life and you're listening to it all the time and you grew up with that, it's easier. If you're coming from a culture where individualism and me and I is very big and your family has kind of drilled that into you, it's very hard. And you will see that again and again and again. If you have had a life of extreme pain and you've already like dead inside, it's easier. But if you're coming from a very, like Laura said, for example, I'm happy, and it's harder because you have to convince your mind to do something which it doesn't want to do. Die. The app is in your head, is called Sebastian in my head. That app is growing every second as experiences and thoughts and emotions get accumulated. The app has to self-destruct. The problem is, we think we are the app. That's the problem. So how does the app self-destruct? Either it becomes too big that it becomes a virus of its sort, and that's the death experience, or there is a teacher or a programming which looks at the app and says, I can change it, I can slowly dismantle it, or you put an antivirus, plant medicine. That's how that app gets destructed and the brain comes into power of now. That's the name of the book. Okay. The power of now, your power. Because when you realize the self, you realize it's not a person, it's just a feeling.
But then we very often hear this that, yes, like the teacher's he has the capacity, as you said, to get to the app and but it also is the willingness of the seeker, how ready the seeker is.
That's why teachers don't push.
And then I think that's the reason why she had that same, I think even I agree to her, sometimes you hear stories where people have been meditating for years and lifetimes.
Yeah.
And they still don't have that experience because they have the karmic balance to kind of exhaust all the vasanas. They need to annihilate. So then, how about your confidence level? Do you think you'll take on any student?
Yeah. That's what I've done in the last 1 year. I've taken on around 120, 30 students, and it's not that I am talking to them every day. They're practicing themselves. I have given them a method, an hour-long method, in which it's 20 minutes of movement and breath, 20 minutes of massage, self-massage, so understanding the body meridians and blood flow, self-massage, and then 20 minutes of meditation. And there's a lot of people who do that, and have they been self-realized? Nobody cares, because the increments of improvement in your health is monumental. So you don't care about where I'm going because you don't know where you're going. But every step is 100 times better than before. So for you, that's what matters, because there is no destination. If you get self-realized, for example, by your karmic line, it will be a realization that happens after that event happens, and it's a non-event. You will just realize, I don't have the thinking voice anymore in my mind. That's it. And then you realize, I can do anything really now if I put my mind to it. In English, we say that all the time. And you can, because your father or mother or your culture told you that the mountain is high and it's difficult to climb. It's not a reality, is it? It's not high for people who live there. It's not difficult to climb for someone who's climbed a mountain 100 times. So when that conditioning goes away, you say, oh, I can climb a mountain, I'm going to climb a mountain. Life opens up. All experiences of life open up. The whole purpose you came here, diversity, just do everything and experience everything, just opens up, basically. So it's like this versus everything. And it's, again, you're right, it's not really in your control that you came here. It just happened. So we just watch it and let it be. We listen. Our nature, true nature, is an observation of thought. Right? So we are just aware of that. And we listen and we observe. We don't judge it. We don't question it. It's not going to take you anywhere. Whatever is happening is great. It's fine. In that, if you get to meditate, if you realize something, if you find knowledge a little bit, great. Why question? Is it going to benefit anyone? Not really. It's going to create more drama. How can you compare me with, for example, Krishnamurti or Eckhart Tolle or whatever? I'm just, my mind was different. And do I care if somebody listens to me or not listen to me? I'm not even a teacher. I write books. That's my role. I'm a writer. But if somebody is coming to me and says, I need help, for example, can you teach me to meditate or some things? I'm not going to say no to it because it's my world. If I can massage someone and open their channels and make them feel better, and if they have a pain here for the last 3 years and they don't know that the pain is not hair, it's actually hair, because all of that I've done on myself, like literally dismantled my body and put it back together over a year, you know, I will do it. That's how medicine is built. That's how philosophies are built. I believe that meditation can fix anything. I believe that stillness leads to a smooth movement of body and mind. And a smooth movement of body and mind generates the experience you call life. But for that, you have to be still. And as soon as you go still, the chakras open, the nadis open, the movement, the meridians open, blah, blah. Because right now we are holding it tight by telling it what to do and what not to do, and become reductionist. I have a pain here, and you go to a foot doctor and he just focuses there. You know that's not true. There could be a problem here, or here, or here. You know that. We all know that. It's one body, it's one connection, it's one blood flow. But no, we don't listen to it. We don't let the body heal itself. How can the body and mind heal itself? When you come out of it, it's very intelligent. Very, very, very intelligent. Much more than we have been made to believe. And I think we all know that. But no, as soon as a problem arises, we go and take medicine, we go to doctors, the thinker comes back, and the body cannot do what it's supposed to do. And all the world of thought, the reductionist, predominantly Western medicine now, just focuses on the symptoms, gives you pills and numbs the pain and does all the diagnosis. But where is the healing? That doesn't happen by medicine, that happens by meditation, by rest, by going back to the true nature of your being, which is stillness, silence, God, whatever you want to call it. But we call it stillness because it's easier to understand. You go there, everything starts moving. The world of thought, the world of perception becomes more harmonized, basically. That's the philosophy, that's the idea. Yes?
So thanks you. When you're unprogrammed mind, what's the role of intuition?
Intuition is,
And gut feeling?
yeah, that's, I mean, you can call it, that's who you are in a way, because you know the truth. That's it. You know the truth. So follow your gut feeling, but you cannot really follow it. You just be aware of it, that I'm doing something. This time it's happening, perhaps next time it wouldn't happen, perhaps next time it wouldn't happen. You have a role of observation of your own mind, and that is your gut feeling, and it will align, the mind will align to it. I mean, it's just a definition, but what's right and wrong in nature, you know that.
But mind suppresses that intuition all the
All the
time,
time.
so it gets really hard to
Very hard.
notice that intuition or differentiate intuition from fear, for example, because when we fear something, we get bad gut feeling, but that's not intuition.
No.
So it's
The mind is the more intelligent you are, the more it's programmed. The more, that's the problem here. So, like I considered myself very intelligent because I was an entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur, a financial trader, a writer. I had to have that experience of death. I had to go through all of that for me to understand that this is actually not me. But if you haven't had that experience, it becomes much harder, much harder. So how do you change then? You accept that my mind is programmed and I'm going to let something instigate that change. Eventually it'll be you. Eventually the source of change will come from that intuition or from that God's eye, basically, whatever you want to call it. The same eye which Musa saw, Adam saw, Muhammad saw, Jesus saw. Me versus my mind, basically. And we call it God. That the 10 commandments, the fundamental laws of nature. Thy not kill, thy not do this, and do that. That's who we are, and we know the truth. But the mind has been programmed to chase a dream. And it believes that you will be happy when you achieve that dream. You know that, and I know that. That is an eternal. We are both entrepreneurs at core. Real entrepreneurship, Selen, is to understand that your thoughts are never the right thoughts. It's what people want from you. So you just keep quiet. I didn't want to write a book. I didn't want to start a YouTube channel or WhatsApp or teach. People wanted me to do that. I did it. Real entrepreneurship is a very conscious act of observing, listening, and just doing for others. My life experience, if I can eat, drink, sleep, cheat, basic stuff, that's my life. I can take beautiful taste out of a piece of bread now because my mind is here. So I'm like, this is amazing. Because I close my eyes and I chew slowly and I go into a state of where the food is eating me and I'm eating food. I'm like, what is actually happening here, right? And I just merge with that experience. I'm not doing anything. I'm not watching a TV, my phone or TV, or I'm there. I'm just there. I'm just like, this is a crazy thing because this thing is going to go in and it's going to be eaten by bacteria or whatever and generate these energy, short chain fatty acids, which goes into my blood and creates my thought, action and reality. Hello? So I'm just there. And when you're there, you realize that I don't really have a desire or a demand or want to be somewhere or do something. I'm just at service for my own mind, which is all of this, like my universe. All of this is my universe. I can look at you and I can define it how I want to define it, right? So I'm just taking care of that. In that universe, something arises, somebody has pain, somebody has a problem. I'm here. Do I need money? Yes, to survive, but do I need money right now? No. Now, no. Now, no. Now, no. So I give. And how it comes back, I have to tell you, in buckets. You go in, and that's the image I made. You go in, the moment you hit in, you open up, you realize this is all me. All what you see, all what you experience. All is you. In English we call it's your reflection.
Yeah.
But it's actually just you. It's your perspective.
Yeah, it's your internal world changing your external reality, and in even like micro moments we notice that it's just when I'm in my anxiety mode, I don't even notice that beautiful flower over there, that it's just, and I feel like life is, everything is my vision gets clouded, yeah. But then when I'm
happy,
not in my racing thoughts, then, but nothing changed. I'm in the same apartment.
Yeah, everything.
I'm having the same coffee.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, this coffee is amazing, and our apartment is so beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. But Selen, the first important thing is to realize is that anxiety is because of a thought. It's a thought. It's not your thought. It's a thought which can be, you can find the connection of that thought to your parents, to your ancestors, to your culture, to your background. So it just emerges. But it's not your thought. It's a thought. Same way, it's not your fear,
Yeah.
it's a fear. The moment you watch it in meditation, with your eyes open even, it goes away. Because it's not real. The real is that flower. Or the being, or the sense of being that I'm here, and this is my world, and this is my coffee, and I'm tasting, and I'm seeing, and I'm experiencing all of that. That is a story. And that has nothing to do with the experience. But it has an impact on the experience because it takes your tool away. You see, your mind and body is a tool for you to experience life. This scare or fear comes from desire, right? This is the problem. If you think about it, I have a desire, I want to achieve something, then I have an expectation of it. If it doesn't happen, I am fearful. But fear happens now, never then. It is impacting me now. Actually, the event hasn't happened. Now we look at desire. Where is the desire coming from? From the past. It's not your desire. It's been programmed into you. You have to be like this, you have to achieve this, you have to go there, you have to become this, blah, blah, blah. So we follow a desire which has been programmed into us. Then we have an expectation that this is what I wanted to happen. If it doesn't happen, which is a thought, again, not reality, then the fear comes now, and I become anxious, and my life experience changes because of what? Nothing. And let's go into science, because that's what you are. It's blood flow, it's neural pathways.
Yeah.
Can we change the structure of the brain by pumping the blood up? Oh yes. Breathing exercises lead to neuroplasticity. Can you open new...
Because I sometimes actually feel there's a chemistry in my body is different when I'm anxious.
Absolutely.
And I feel the chemistry.
So you are very self-aware. And so for someone like you, you can actually go into that state and go and experience that chemistry. And that's what meditation is. That's what yoga is. That's in movement, in stillness, in stretch, in pain, movement of pain, movement of sensations, movement of emotions, movement of breath, movement of thought, you achieve stillness. You realize I am experiencing the movement, then I must not be the movement. And that's when you start realizing that there is something, somewhere, which knows of all movement. Not just in my body, but everywhere.
I am.
That is I am. Omnipresent. Continuously, everywhere. Not just here. But it also has a perspective of Sebastian. So it sees that as a beautiful idea of that omnipresence, God, or love, or oneness. All of that, whatever you want to call it. But that's what you mean when you say I am, and I have to stress that again and again and again. You don't mean by I am Selen that you are Selen, because that I am doesn't change, Selen changes. You know of the change. You have seen Selen's life change in the last 10 years, 5 years, even in the last 20 minutes. But the one which knows of the change is not changing. That is omnipresent. And that is the strength of your being, of all of our beings, of life. That we are harmonized in presence, experiencing the change. Any other questions, guys? Okay, so what we'll do is, what's the time? All right, so let's do a 20-minute break, and let's have coffee. Whoever wants to have coffee and tea upstairs, and then in 20 minutes let's come down. And 6 o'clock we'll start meditation. It'll be half an hour meditation, and by 6:30 we'll be done. Thank you very much. And then we can keep in touch. And if you have any other questions, I have a WhatsApp group where I share all of these thoughts with a lot of my friends and a lot of other people. But I'm always available for anything you guys want. But let's do that, 15-20 minute break, and then we come back for meditation.
Thank you.